And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the January 11th edition of Stars of VANR. I'm your host, Aaron Phillips. Mr. Ricky Cash is out on assignment. Joining me today is John JPEG Styles handling the video. And on the board today with us is the gentleman we call G Cubed. Some people know him as Ryan. He's on the board with us today. And today on Stars of VANR, the show that kind of lets you in behind the scenes on all of our shows and puts them in the spotlight, is a show that we air on Thursdays at 1 in the afternoon called From Grief to Relief with hosts Joseph Perroni and Heidi Mancini. They are in the hot seat. They are nervous because they don't like answering questions. They're used to asking them. No, yeah,
I am scared.
They're afraid we're going to make them cry.
No. In almost 7 years of doing this, I've never had anybody run out of the studio with their head on fire crying, so it's all good.
Almost.
This isn't 60 Minutes. We're in good shape. Guys, welcome to the show. Thank you for making time to be with us today.
Thank you for letting us on.
Thank you. It's been a long time. I think we canceled a couple of times.
Speaking of canceling guests.
That's why I confirmed.
We've tried. But you know what? You guys sat in last May when I was out of town as a co-host on Vegas and Wrapped and spent time with the crew and shared some stuff with our audience.
That's true. It was fun.
So it was nice of you to do that.
And speaking of canceling,
okay.
Didn't you just have a recent situation that we were discussing, without discussing names or whatever, but you recently had a guest cancel?
Yeah. Okay. You want to start with this right away?
No, I do.
Usually we start a little softer, I'll be honest.
But the reason that I want to start with this is because I would like you, if you don't mind.
No problem at all.
Read the email that you read to me that you sent to this individual.
Well, do we have time for the backup of it? A little bit?
We got an hour, so this is all about you.
And Heidi, help me out, because Heidi does all the social media.
Right.
So do you want to
I'm
start
the
with
one writing the emails too.
Right.
With
So
her. I got a little bent out of shape because I'd asked this guest a question about something I had observed in her writing, and she got defensive with me, and basically kind of turned my words around. And this is all in writing, by the way.
Right.
And I said, no, I did not say that. This is what I observed. And then it went from that to, she basically wrote us back and said, I don't want to be on your show.
Yikes.
Yeah,
It's like, okay.
Yeah, because our show, first of all, we don't do infomercials.
Right.
And you know, at the station, you get a lot of emails, I guess, and it says, we would like to do a show.
Absolutely.
Like media kit. And we're not going to do infomercials. We ask very tough questions.
Mm-hmm.
And we always tell people, check out our archives, and you can see what we do. And you were on the show.
Yep.
And John, you remember? I mean,
Yeah.
we go for it, right? Because we want to be human.
And that's what we like about the show. That's one of the reasons that we like having you here, is because you have that type of show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and we always try to make it real.
Yep.
And so she knew what she was getting herself into, and we save all the emails.
Right.
So our first contact was November 22nd last year. And we said, I want to be able to read your book. Send it, and so I can do a proper interview. I will go through this book line by line. And she said, okay. We have the email that says, yes, I will send it to you. Well, over the weekend, we said, the show's coming up. We haven't gotten a book yet. I'm having difficulty writing a show. And she said, I didn't know I was supposed to send a book. Well, strike one. I mean, it's possible she didn't remember, but she did send an email. And so as it went on, I started asking her a few questions. And she did not want to go through with it. Do you want one of the ones I was talking about?
Yeah.
She had this blog she was writing, and it was right off the top. It said, respect is given. Respect is earned, not given. And then under it was the start of her story.
So I take that to mean that I do not respect you at all unless you do something to prove to earn my respect.
Right.
That's the way I would take that.
Right. And so then the rest of it says, in relationships, how come men and women don't respect each other? And my thought was, you just answered your own question. Because if you're going into a situation with another human being showing disrespect, how is it ever going to work out?
Yeah.
And why are you teaching your kids to be disrespectful?
And again, John, not to interrupt you, this perpetuates the whole thing about, you and I have talked about this with females in general. It always becomes a gender specific issue with how we treat each other, and basically it comes down to, we're all people, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you should be respectful. Mm-hmm. And women, for some reason, I said to her, I'm a life wellness coach also, and I like to empower women, but not fall back on the victimization part and the man bashing. And I said, I see projection in this, that her thing, that she's obviously had some issues, and now you're sharing that with other women, and you're just stirring the pot again for
Right.
women to hate men. That's
Right.
not empowering women by saying hate men.
No.
So,
That's bringing gasoline to
agree.
a bonfire. Wow.
and I think she was a little bit surprised too. Joe and I are a team, but it basically came from another female.
Right.
And I basically said, this is not how
Right.
we should do this.
Right.
And I just had a few questions, and that was it.
And you said, but as you shared the story, in the 3.5 years that you've been on the air, this is the first time that you've had an obstacle like this with a potential guest that backed off.
But I said to Joe, this is so typical of what I've said to him before. He says, why do you always have problems with women? Okay? And I said, Joe, I'm telling you, you don't want to live your life as a female either.
Right.
Because you can never call a female out on anything, because she will pick up her toys and go pout in the corner. And basically, this is what happened today. I said, this is I want to have a conversation about. This is what I'm seeing. If
Right.
I'm wrong, let's have a dialogue about
Sure.
it. And she's like, never mind, I don't want to be on your show.
Right.
But that's typical of most females.
But and I think
I'm
that's
going to get in trouble for saying
no,
that.
no, no. I think that's common that a lot of people, when you try to have a discussion or a conversation about a topic or an issue that is a little bit sensitive, people get defensive, and they
Right.
think that you're trying to start an argument or that you're trying to stir up some crap when you're trying to have an honest, open discussion and discuss two sides of an issue or two things of an issue. And I don't think that that's really just women. I mean, I think men do the same thing, and we react.
But we're willing to give. We are willing to forgive faster and easier in a discussion like that than I think most women are. Yes.
That
But
is
my
true.
thing is too, John, though, if you're in a position of, you're in a leadership position and you can't be asked a question without being defensive,
Yeah.
you should be in a position of, no matter what somebody says to you, because you're in an empowerment role, if that's what you want to say,
Right.
that you should be an open book for any questions that come your way, not get defensive and offended.
Right.
And if you do get offended, 99% of the time, it's because there is something in that.
Right. So
The reason that I started this conversation is
Right.
that Joe responded with an email to this person
Right.
that I thought really explained their show. And if you don't mind, would you read that?
I will do it. I'm going to leave out
Okay.
any names. Is that
yeah,
okay?
don't no
change the
and
names
stuff.
to protect the innocent.
All right.
Jane Doe.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jane Doe, we understand your point of view. However, we have a very sophisticated audience that expects us to challenge each and every one of our clients. We never have, nor will we ever do an infomercial. For 4 years, we have had intelligent discussions and discourse with our guests, which have contributed to a lively expression of ideas. This is why we are well respected and have one of the top-rated shows. Friedrich Nietzsche said, an author's work is nothing more than an autobiography. Therefore, a skilled interviewer will always inquire about the artist as well as their art. The From Grief to Relief show is disappointed in your decision. However, we do feel it is ironic that someone who is selling empowerment is absolutely unable to discuss her points of view and can't withstand some questioning. As a life coach myself, I like to hear all points of view. Being empowered means being able to stand up to some forms of scrutiny. So just a little bit longer. I was looking forward to doing this show with you. Our show is known for our truth, our authenticity, and challenging the herd mentality. We have shown tremendous respect for every one of our guests, and you have the dubious distinction of being the first person in 4 years who is absolutely unwilling to engage in an entertaining, informative, and therapeutic conversation. Thank you.
And I thought that perfectly describes your show.
Absolutely. And I'm
Having
glad.
been on the receiving end.
Exactly.
And you will be again, too, by the way.
And that's really what this show, Stars of VANR, is about, and that is to give the audience a behind-the-scenes look at perhaps shows that they don't regularly listen to, but at the same token, an opportunity to express what your show is about. And you're right, listening to that response definitely hits it on the head in terms of what you do on your show together, the people that you've had on your show, notwithstanding the three of us. And it is a very empowering, to take a word from Heidi, show that you guys offer. And I think it's important that you stand by your convictions of belief of how you approach your show, and you don't waver for a guest, because that will take away from what you're doing and will also dissuade your audience. And I
Right.
commend you on that.
And
Thank you.
I think all of the shows that I've listened to, and I haven't listened to all of them, but I have listened to most of them, I have never heard you or Heidi approach a guest in a negative way.
Never.
Every way that you have presented your guests, talked to them, asked them questions, has always been in a positive, affirmative, kind of strengthening, supporting role.
Right.
And I like that about the show, because no matter what the topic or the subject of the day is, I always walk away with some valuable piece of information. And that's what I like about it. And so anyone that's afraid of coming on and just kind of, I don't know, they obviously haven't heard your show.
Right.
Or they've got something to hide.
And that's the thing, too. Yeah, they, first of all, they have something to hide. They can't back up what they're saying.
Right.
Which is very scary, because if you're in a role of leadership where you're selling books to people, and that's one of the things we talk about, that whole self-help industry, most of it is not very good. What they're doing is, they're selling emotional validation
Right.
at the expense of actually doing something good for yourself.
Right.
You know, so that, and so we caught her in that, you know. But I like that you you notice what our show is about. And what we do a lot is we'll always draw emotional blood, you know, with people,
Yeah.
because it's important that people understand that having feelings, even the deepest, darkest, and the ones that hurt the most, are normal. And feelings never have hurt or killed anybody, really. It's the masking of the feelings that kill people, whether it's through drugs, alcohol, or any kind of self-harm. So that's why we put it out there.
Well, and also I like that you practice what you preach. I mean,
Yeah.
the couple of days after your mom passed away,
Right.
you guys came on, you did the show, and you did the show, it was about you and your experiences, just as if you were a guest on your show. And
Right.
I really did like that show, and I got to give you a lot of credit for doing that.
Oh.
Because not a lot of people, I don't know very many people that could have done that.
Well, thank you. I think part of being a leader is doing it. And that was one of the worst days of my life. And I came in here and I laid it out.
Yeah.
As best I could. Some of it I couldn't get through, but that's okay. You know, that's normal. That's what people go through. And I don't mind putting myself up there, too. And
Well, you have to.
I have
if,
to.
If you're
exactly.
going to do that as a show host, you have to. To have some credibility, you have to practice what you preach. That's what I love about you guys.
Yeah, because
So,
it's not a show. Like, when we do that, that's who we are.
Yeah.
You know, Heidi and I have had fights on the air. Those are real.
Yeah.
And then
We have fights off the air too. But
well, that's,
yeah, they get pretty crazy because I'm the what they say, two Italians in the same. I'm the one that's got all the
Yeah.
passion and the. My client calls it passion. She says, "Don't say it's anything violent." She goes, "You're just passionate Italian."
Let me stop it right there. We're going to step aside for our first break. The show is From Grief to Relief, Thursdays at 1 p.m. right here on Vegas On Net Radio. You're listening to Stars of VANR. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to get behind the scenes, how they got into the world that they do. Not only self-help, but also they're quite physically fit, these two. They could kick our butts without thinking
take your
twice
shirts
about
off.
it. Yeah. That's a whole nother show. Anyway, we'll be back right after this. All right, welcome back to Stars of VANR. Aaron Phillips, John J. Peck Styles, Ryan behind the board, Mr. Cash is on
Would you
the
call
side.
him cue ball?
Cue ball? No, G cubed.
G cubed.
Good. We coined that last year, wasn't it? You were filling in actually
Yeah.
for John doing the videography. G cube stands for Good Guy Goy.
Okay.
Good guy, Goy.
Yes, right. That's how we had it,
Oh.
right? Something like that. Actually, you came up with it, didn't you? Anyway, welcome back to the show. Sitting in today's hot seat, Joseph Perroni, Heidi Mancini, hosts of From Grief to Relief, which airs every Thursday at 1 p.m. right here on Vegas All Net Radio. All right, so let's kind of backtrack a little bit. Obviously, people don't wake up in the morning or when you're born and saying, I'm going to be on the radio and be physically fit people. Let's give a little backstory. How'd you get into, why the birth of the radio show 3.5, almost 4 years ago? But let's go further back. Tell us about your background, where you went to school, all that stuff. Who wants to go first?
Tell us about the mullet.
The mullet. You
yeah.
saw that picture.
And his stretch pants. Your stretch pants.
We don't need to talk
They call
about
those
that.
leggings. Those are leggings. They were leggings.
That
Weren't they
was-
Zubas at one time? Back in
Zubas,
the 80s,
yeah.
right? Zubas pants?
Yeah,
The
that's what he
lion print.
had with the big
I used to
poof
have 'em
and
too,
the
yeah.
thing- yeah,
I had
I
'em
was
too.
like, Joe, and he still has them too.
No mullet on my head, though. But
Yeah, the 80s were very interesting.
They were good years. Yeah.
So go ahead, you start. Where did you start?
Where'd I start? I'm from Lockport, New York. I lived there until I was 33, and then I moved here to Las Vegas.
is that upstate?
Upstate New York, near Buffalo.
Oh, okay, on the
Canada.
west side.
No,
okay.
it's not near Buffalo. It's near Canada.
It's near Canada. We don't count apparently.
No.
Seriously. I don't know. I don't know.
What brought you to Vegas?
My family was here.
Oh, okay.
So after my father had passed away,
Italian.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
we decided that it was best maybe to come out here so my daughter could be closer to
Okay.
my family.
Okay. So where'd you go to school? Did you go to school? Did you go to college? All
I
that
went to cosmetology school.
Okay.
Back on the East Coast. I've been doing hair now for 27 years.
Right.
I'm also right now kind of getting into some wellness life coaching for
Right.
for women.
Right.
I started bodybuilding. I should say started working out when I was 40. I quit smoking, and I decided I didn't want to look like a middle-aged lady anymore that was out of shape and unhealthy.
Okay.
And I did part of that for my daughter because I wanted to be, more positive for her.
Sure.
And then I started out with Joe as a trainer, and I decided that I liked working out. And then it just went.
So how long have you been competing? Because you go into competitions every once in a while.
Maybe 5 years.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and
What do you enjoy about competing? Is there an aspect of it that you really enjoy?
I like setting the goal. I like setting the goal and
To get ready for the
to
pageant?
get ready for it and to see what my body when you train, a lot of times you don't know, you're training your shoulders, you're training your legs, you're doing different areas of your body, and you can't really tell what you're doing until you get the water and the fat off of that.
Right.
So to me, it's amazing to me, and especially for me at 40 years old when I started training, that how you can develop a 40-year-old body over a 10-year period by consistent training and diet. So for me, every time I do a contest, I said, wow, I've improved once again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, do the contest. So it's, I like putting the outfit on and the hair thing. And
So I don't know if anybody caught this, but I have a degree in mathematics. Now, you said you started training at 40, and you mentioned a 10-year gap.
yes,
Am I correct in adding those two numbers together to
Yes.
guess an approximate age?
30.
50.
30.
I'm 50.
New math, 30.
You 30. That's Joe's man.
All right.
And I'm happy to say I'm 50 years old. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, I would never tell anybody your age." And you know what? I want to tell everybody my age.
I would
Even
have
said,
never-
I wouldn't have believed it.
No way.
Yeah. No,
And
no,
I'm
I
usually
wouldn't have
pretty good for my days in timeshare guessing people's ages when we have fun at the table. I still would have pegged you probably mid to late 30s. Honest to God. But that's great. I mean,
What's cool about it is part of it is that we as women set a role for these younger girls, and it's
Right.
funny to me that it's not funny, but it's cool to me that a lot of the younger girls attach themselves to me, and I always think, God, I'm the old lady in the bunch. This is so funny. But it's because girls need to have that positive,
Sure.
strong. I mean, I'm not strong all the time mentally and emotionally. I have my issues
Everybody
here and
does.
there too. But at the end of the day, when a young girl can look at an older woman and say, well, God, if you eat right and you train, you can be healthy. And when you train and you look good, you feel good.
Right.
And there isn't anything like I would attempt to do almost anything in my life and be somewhat confident that I could be successful. Now, how successful? I mean, who knows that?
Sure,
But
sure.
at least now I have the confidence to say, I'll at least give it a try. Where
Right.
years ago, if somebody would have told me 10 years ago when I started training, even if Joe, if he would have said, oh, in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, you're going to be doing shows, I'd be like, are you freaking kidding me? I don't even like to train. I come in here one day a week. I train with you. I walk my dogs 3 days.
Right.
I'm cool. And that's where I was with my training back then.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I hired him, because he was so laid back about it that I said, I love this guy. He's
Right.
not telling me I got to train 5 days a week.
Well,
and-
what was the question you gave to me? Remember? The first times.
I said, well, how many days do I have to train?
And what did I say?
And he said, how many are you training now? I said, none. He says, well, one's better than, you know.
Try
I was
one.
like, cool, you're hired. It was all good.
Well, I can attest to Heidi's walking because I get on the computer at 6 o'clock in the morning after I shower and get up.
And she's already got the pictures
An
uploaded.
hour already. I'm on the way to walking with the dogs, and I can see the dogs in the car saying, Mom, it's cold. I really don't want to be doing this at 5 a.m. But you're out there just about every day doing the walking thing. Absolutely. Good for you. That's
But
good for you.
In talking about the competition, and maybe I'm wrong, but my impression is that from knowing you, what little I do, is that you're competing more with yourself than you are other people.
Yes, and but there is time. I have to be honest with you, John. There are people. Yes, I do compete with myself. It's about me when
Right.
you get up on the stage.
Right.
But we all want to do the top 5 or top 7 or whatever it is. There is that little part of us that says, "Yeah, I'm doing this for me." But yes, the icing on the cake when you do all
Of
that
course.
work is to walk away with something. Because everybody, when you do a show, the first thing they say is, "Well, what did you place?" Well, I didn't place. Oh, okay. Well, better luck next time. Because that's the kind of
No.
So you kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do.
But
it
I
for
understand.
myself,
But I mean, do you find that what 5 years now you've been doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that when you're up on the stage that maybe you have a little more confidence or a little more self-awareness than you
Yeah.
did when you first started?
Yes,
that
and
you've-
one of my things every year that when I've done this, I'm very shy. Like I don't come across as I shouldn't say I'm very shy. I'm very outgoing most of the time. I'm a hairstylist by trade, so I have to deal with people. I have to interact. I'm very open in an environment that I'm comfortable in. I have never been comfortable with my body or sexual. I don't want to say sexual, but I've never been sensual. I've never felt that I was sensual. I never felt that I was that kind of female. I always felt like the tomboy girl, the girl that was kind of, I was every guy's friend.
Yeah.
And I always thought, well, how do you become that girl that, you have that whatever it is, the grace.
Right,
And so
right.
every time I compete, it's improving my presentation so that I look authentic and I'm
Gotcha.
not scared to death.
Gotcha.
And what's been the one thing that you learned about yourself during your time of competing that has surprised you about yourself over these 5 years? See, we can ask tough questions too on this show.
Yeah, see? All right, you got a tough one. I like that.
Now you know what to ask. All right, while she thinks of an answer, Joe,
gotta-
let's
you gotta
let's
dig
hear
deep.
your backstory here.
She has an answer.
I have an answer.
Oh, do
Okay.
you?
Oh, okay.
here we
Is
go.
that I can do it. And,
Okay.
so many times you hear people say, I can't do that. And, for me personally, being around a lot of negativity when I was younger, and I love my parents. This is not a shot at anybody. You're told, and a lot of times as a girl, too, you're told. I remember when I played basketball, my father freaked because that's not a girl sport. What are you doing? That's a boy sport. I used to play tag football with the guys in the neighborhood. And so for me to be, and it was told, well, if you want to do it, you can do it, but you're not getting support from me. So there's always this little thing in your little voice in my head that says you can't do it.
Right.
And it's either because you're not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, tall enough, short, whatever it might be. And for me, it's always been like, if I do this, I can do it. And right now I'm learning a routine. And I'm going to do some kind of I'm not moving up. People go, you're moving up. I go, no, I'm not moving up. There's different divisions and everybody has their place. It's not a matter of figures, not any good, and this one is better. They base it on your structure. So some girls are figure girls and some girls are physique girls, and that's just the way it is. So for me, when I first started learning this routine, I've said to my dance guy that's helping me out, I said, and Joe's been helping me with my choreography, and I've got Diane Dennis, I got Sierra, I've got a bunch of crew around me that are really jumped in and helped me out. I looked at him one day, I said, I'm not doing this. You know what? I can't get it. I don't want to do it. It's not me. I'm not going to look like a jerk up there, and I was ready to quit. And he said, listen, you can do this. And I know I can do it, but there's a part of me that just says, forget it. I just don't want to.
Right.
And now I've got it because I kept going. So it doesn't matter.
You persevered.
Yeah, and a lot of times people say their age all the time. They go, I'm too old for that. You might be too old for some things, but you're never too old to give it a good shot.
Right. Interesting. I like that philosophy. I like that. Very good. Very good.
It's good. It kind of turned into our show there. The way
You like that?
Yeah, I do. That one tear says a lot, right?
Well, I saw that, and I'm like, all right, let's divert here for a second.
No,
So.
but that's the thing. Don't divert. Go in.
That's when you go in for the kill.
That's
right?
when you go in.
Yep.
But
Well,
so
I've
you
never
feel better
put-
now,
That's
right?
why I wouldn't let you bypass. I knew
That's-
she had the answer.
Yeah, we don't do emotional bypasses on our show.
Well.
No, never.
This show's supposed to be light and airy. So, Joe,
But
Joseph,
theirs isn't.
but this is not. Yeah, but they can
Theirs
talk
is
about
some
that.
serious shit.
I know it is. So, your turn. Talk about your background.
Let's see.
How you got to where you are today.
Let's see. I'm from Baldwin, Long Island. Elmont before that, but I barely remember that.
Hempstead.
Yeah, near you. Yeah, that's. We've played them in football a bunch of times. We lost mostly. I was always into working out. Let's say because I was a real sickly kid.
Okay.
And I had asthma, and I don't mean that little, asthma type symptoms people complain about now. I mean, I was in and out of hospitals all the time. I lived in an oxygen tent
Wow.
for a while.
Boy in the bubble for real.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
I remember that with John Travolta.
Yes.
That's why I was like, that's my idol,
I could get out.
Yeah, it took me 3 ear operations when I was a kid to start to hear really well. And so that really fed into my shyness. So I don't think I really learned to even read until I was in third grade.
Right.
So to me, I was just, at some point, I was sick and tired of being less than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to start working out. I noticed that my muscles got a little stronger. I started reading, and then I started going, well, okay, that person didn't read that book, but I did. So now I started getting a little smarter. And I just started making this whole thing. We talk about empowerment. I don't like to use the word empowerment, really, but to me, it was just my own enlightenment. And I started probably when I was 11 years old, working out. And I think I was in my first bodybuilding contest when I was 16.
Wow.
And I got destroyed. I came in last place, deservingly so. But here's the thing. I loved it. It gave me meaning and purpose. It made me special in a way. And it made me so I didn't have to depend on outside people to make me happy. I knew that I can go to the gym and set a goal and attain that goal and feel good about myself. So I became very internally motivated that way. And it just kept going on. Then I started doing contests from then. And if you want to hear it, I hate to say it. Do you want to say it? I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. I'm one of the very few people in the United States even that has actually won shows over 4 decades.
Okay.
I've won in the 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010.
Right.
And I've actually won 2 shows in 2015.
Wow.
So I got to wait 5 more years. If I can do it again,
Be
I'll
5
probably
decades.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's a great
So-
accomplishment. I think that's terrific because you've kept at it. Obviously. Now you also had an
Yeah.
accident or surgery not too long ago that also prompted some redevelopment. Is that right? If my
Yeah.
story's right.
I don't wish bad things to happen to me.
Right.
But I understand that as an existentialist, that life is what it is. These
Right.
things are going to happen, and
Sure.
one day we're not going to be here at all.
Right.
So I accept when bad things happen, and I try to make something good out of it. I think, John, you said something when my mother died, and it took a lot of guts on your part, I thought. You sent a message saying, I'm sure you will find strength from this. And I really appreciated that, by the way. And that is truly the essence of who I am and who
Right.
my mother raised.
And that's what I meant. I knew you.
Yeah.
I knew that you would find a way to get some strength for yourself out of that.
Right. Thank you. That was great. And so everything, including what you're alluding to, my hip surgery. I had a car accident a while back. And from that, it led to that my hip wasn't working very well after a few years, so I had it replaced. So again, to my knowledge, I'm the only one who's come back after that and has won a major bodybuilding show. And just to put a little distance, that's why I did 2 of them, so I could win 2 of them.
Right.
And so you only live once, so I really don't want to say no to too many things.
Sure.
And there might be other people in the world sometimes willing to jump on your back and tell you what you can't do.
Right.
But I can't be a part of that.
Right.
I am my number 1 critic, by the way. But that's okay as long as I'm also my number 1 fan.
Sure.
And so that's why when bad things happen, I'm like, opportunity. I'm going to do something with
How
this.
can I turn it?
Right, yeah.
All right, we're going to stop right there for our bottom of the hour break. We're going to have more with Joe and Heidi on the other side. You're listening to Stars of VANR here on Vegas All Net Radio. Joe and Heidi from Grief to Relief here in the hot seat today. More with Joe and Heidi right after this. All right, welcome back. A little more than halfway through the show, because after the next break, it's the hot question time. So we're going to slide into that after the next segment.
We're
So
well prepared.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you
I
are.
bet you aren't.
Maybe not.
It's not a test you can study for around here. That's for sure. So I want to get back to Joe for a second because if I read your bio, I saw it on your Facebook page in the past. You also have a degree in psychology, or you studied psychology. Is that right?
Yeah, I have my degree in marriage and family therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's like psychology.
Yeah,
for,
same
for
thing.
married people.
Right. I was just being a little more specific. But my other degree's in corporate fitness, so I
Okay.
just kind of combined
Combine
the
them
two.
both.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Adelphi University.
Oh, Adelphi.
Way back. Well, yeah. Actually, if we want to go way back,
Way back in the slouch pants days, the 80s with the mullet.
That's when I had the mullet. That's when I used to take the bus to school. Let's see, Nassau Community College
Okay.
first,
Sure.
and then Adelphi,
Okay.
then University of Phoenix.
Okay. Very cool. Very
Yeah, I
cool.
went back to school after like 20-something years. It
Right.
was really
Online, or
weird.
did you go to classes? 'Cause
Well,
these-
you know, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny you said that. You just reminded me. I actually went to a school before that online. You
Okay.
know why? Because UNLV would not take me because I hadn't been there in so long.
Oh wow.
And it was a problem to get into psychology department. So I started off. Don't laugh now. It's at Liberty University.
Oh, I know Liberty.
Yeah. So
Ricky
it's,
Cash used to work there.
Oh, really?
He worked in the admissions. You know, he would meet with potential students. That was
Oh,
so.
okay.
Well, I'm very familiar with it.
yeah. So it's a Christian university.
Uh-huh.
So everything.
Yeah,
was
how the
based
Jew
off
got
of-
in there, I have no idea, but he got in
How
somehow.
in the hell?
Well, they know. You know.
Well, I snuck in. But I had money. I mean, that's,
Not you.
no, Ricky.
Cash.
Ricky worked as like an admissions counselor. Like if you
Wow,
were interested
okay.
in the school, he would be the guy you would go meet and talk to.
Wow,
So,
okay.
yeah. He worked down at down off of 215 in Stephanie. I think there was a branch
All
down
right.
there.
Yeah,
That's where he
it
went to
was
work.
weird. I knew I was in the wrong. I mean, not to listen. The person who is our biggest sponsor is a born again Christian, so I don't
Mm-hmm. Okay.
have any problems with that.
Right.
But I have to tell you, I was in a little bit of
You
a
can give
problem.
him a plug if you want. If is it Frank's?
Frank Scandora.
Give him a plug. Yeah, give him a plug. He's your biggest
Absolutely.
sponsor.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Frank Scandura III from Frank's European Service for sponsoring our show.
There you go.
Thank you,
Let
Frank.
him hear
and,
it.
and I have personal experience with Frank's European, and everybody over there is really cool. If you got a European car, don't take it to the dealer. Take it to Frank's. I swear to God.
Awesome.
And you know what? When they get finished and they bring you your car, they got a bottle of ice cold water sitting in the cup holder for you.
Cool.
Well, they do that in July, in the summer, in the
Yeah,
wintertime, you
yeah.
get hot cocoa, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Nice.
So let me tell you one quick thing.
Yes.
Because I was there with Heidi when I got this email from Liberty University.
Okay.
It was like 2 days before school was supposed to start. And I guess they didn't realize I was an online student. I don't know what they were thinking. But it said that they were an equal opportunity school.
Okay.
And basically it said was you're allowed to be a Democrat, but do not speak about liberal policies anywhere near the campus. I was like, hold it. You can't say that. This is supposed to be a place of higher learning.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Plus, I believe the money that I was giving them
Right.
was federal money, right? Because you get a loan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're taking federal money
Yeah.
and then telling people that they can't talk about liberal policies.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that is really
Little contradiction there.
very much. I thought, okay, I'm going to be in the wrong school right here. So I got like 6 credits, and that was enough for University of Phoenix to say, okay, this guy is a viable student or whatever. And so
Right.
they took me, and then here I am.
There you go. Now, almost 4 years ago, you started the show. Talk about the birth of the show and how that manifested. Why did you start the show? And let's talk about the show itself.
Well, to go back just a little bit,
Okay.
way back when Heidi was married to somebody else.
Yes,
and
I was.
I was also married to somebody else.
Okay.
And that's where it kind of starts. My wife at the time, she died.
Okay.
And I had 2 kids that were, I did not adopt them
Okay.
legally. So they were my non-biological kids.
Right.
So they were your stepchildren at the
Yes.
time? Okay.
Yes. And that was that way for 13 years. But when your wife dies and you didn't technically adopt the kids, you're just a single man living with 2 teenage girls.
Right.
And so that was kind of weird. That didn't work out, you know. It's hard to discipline them when they can call the cops anytime they want,
Sure.
whenever they, so
Sure.
that didn't work. So they ended up going with their father.
Okay.
So I lost a wife and 2 kids.
Right.
And obviously it was 2008,
Okay.
so the economy went down,
Right.
so I lost half my business. So I thought, well, how am I going to make this work? So I did two things. I went back to school with my free time, and
Okay.
my other free time is I wrote a book,
Okay.
the From Grief to Relief
Okay.
book. So then I was trying to get it sold, and I came to this studio
Okay.
because nobody would put me on the air, and I talked to Bruce Garrett. And I knocked on his door, and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I sure hope so. Nobody wants to answer my phone calls." And after talking to him for 10 minutes, he goes, "I don't think you're the type of person that would be a good guest on anybody's show." And I was like, "Okay." And then here's the selling part. He
Right.
said, "Why don't you're very opinionated. Why don't you just do your own show?"
Right.
And then I said, "No way. I'm shy. I can't do that." And then I thought about it, and I said, "Hold it. I already made that in my head that I will never say no to things. I
Sure.
want to expand my life." So I said yes.
Okay.
And I did the very first show by myself. It was absolutely horrible. It was just horrifically bad. So I thought, what a good idea. I'll invite Heidi to the next one, and we'll make it bad together.
Someone to share your grief
Misery
with.
with.
Yeah.
Those first shows are embarrassing.
Yeah, they were terrible.
But you learned from them, though,
Yes.
didn't you?
We learned
A
what
lot.
we didn't want to do. We
Right.
said, okay,
Right.
you know what? We were trying to do. I don't know why we were trying to do it, but it started out with a lot of sexual, a lot of stuff like that.
A lot of zingers.
Zingers, and then
Yeah.
we're like, that's not us. I said I don't want to act like that, and so we kind of evolved into who we are, and we've stayed true to that since.
Sure.
You know, even because we sometimes say, well, maybe if we do this, people will like us more. No, we're going to stay with what we're doing, and who likes us, who doesn't.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And the funny part about that was, of course, you start to go, all right, I'm getting a little proud of having my own radio show.
Right.
And we were doing something over our house, right? Was it Super Bowl or something? And I was acting all whatever. I said to my mother, I said, "Mom, what do you think about that? It's a great show." She goes, "It's terrible." She goes, "It's terrible." She goes, "Why do you have to talk about sex like that in a superficial way? I didn't raise you like that. You're much smarter than that. You got to start using your brain. You're not Howard Stern. You don't want to be." So I thought about that for about 30 seconds, and I was like, well, as usual, she's right. And so we just revamped the whole show.
Sure.
And now we don't do a show. We just do just make it ourselves, and we
Right.
talk about what we talk about every day.
It's like a 1-hour therapy session.
Yeah.
Is really what it is, because the conversation is natural, and like we said at the top of the show, it's very direct, and there's no phoniness about it, and I think that's a great attribute to the show.
And it's free.
And
that
I-
kind of
Right.
therapy.
I can't believe that some of your guests haven't punched you.
No, they never. You know what the funny thing? It's funny you say that. Like I said, this week was the first week where somebody did not want to stand up to the scrutiny of tough questions.
Yeah.
They didn't want to face their own fears.
Right.
But everybody, including Frank, loves to come on.
And you're always
Yeah.
open about, here's what we're going to do.
Right.
And this is what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to try to get you to do this, or I'm going to try to get you to do that.
Like, okay, we were very tough on you when
Yes.
you were on the show, right?
Yeah.
We asked you what you have lost,
Yep.
From the war and everything.
Yep.
And how did you feel after the show, though?
Oh, I felt great because in a lot of instances, those are things that we don't normally share or get an opportunity to share,
Right.
or it makes us look or feel weak.
Right.
But after the show and sharing in the way that it was shared in a positive way, I felt strengthened
Right.
and relieved.
Well, thank you. That's what we try to do.
Yeah,
And
so-
by the way, I want to say one more thing about why I appreciate you. One of the first times that we were on the air with you, you looked at us and said you thought we were going to be superficial, based just on the fact. No, seriously. no,
That's the honest to God truth.
yeah, no, I know
Yeah.
that, and I respect you for that,
Yeah.
because that's the kind of honesty we want.
Right.
And my thought is, listen, you can't offend me. People who get offended have low self-esteem and low self-worth. They're
Right.
trying to defend. I'm not defending anything. I thank you for saying that, because your next comment is because of the way we looked that you thought our show was going to be superficial. And that teaches me something, that if I don't want to be, conceited anyway, but if I'm bigger, let's say, more than the normal man, it's up to me to break that ice.
Right.
That's something that you
Yeah.
taught me, that I should smile first and be open. So I'm really glad you were honest to be able to say that to us. I love that you said that. I thought it was great.
Very cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Little insight. All right, we're going to step aside for our last break a minute or two early so these guys will get ready for the tough questions on the other side of the break. It's a tradition that we have of really getting the really behind-the-scenes questions for getting to know what these two are all about. You're listening to Stars of VANR right here on Vegas All Net Radio. We'll be back with more to wrap up right after this. All right, we're coming around the clubhouse turn here on Stars of VANR. Aaron Phillips, JPEG is with us. Ryan is on the board. Mr. Cash is playing hooky today. He is doing something else. I don't know what he's doing.
What is he doing?
Probably sleeping on the couch in
Is
his
he
office.
sleeping?
Probably.
He's not sleeping.
We recently moved some people around, and I was adamant about taking that big couch out of his office, and we were going to put it in the green room. And I mean, he basically paid me off to keep that couch in his office for him to sleep on.
Actually, we couldn't get it out the door.
That's right, exactly. That was the other side of it. We
We had
couldn't
to
get
take
it
the
out.
legs
so.
off and all that crap, and I
Yeah,
said,
screw
I'm
it.
not doing
That's
it. Leave
it.
it here. Yeah.
All right, this is the part of the show where we get serious. It's a bunch of questions that we ask to really let the listeners get behind the scenes on what you two are really all about. All right, so you ready for the first question? Who's going to go first?
Heidi,
Heidi's going to go first? Oh, boy. All right, here you go.
God.
without being sexist,
What?
No.
ladies first.
Ladies
Okay.
first. All right, here you go. Who's your favorite actor?
My favorite actor? Mm-hmm. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. All right.
Yes.
What's your favorite Johnny Depp movie?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
The whole series?
The whole series, but there was another one. I think it was The Rear Window or something, which
Okay.
was one of his earlier movies.
Okay.
And he's a psycho. He's
Okay.
like, yeah. What was it? Secret Window. Secret Window.
Secret Window, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That was when I first dialed into Johnny Depp.
Do you remember 21 Jump Street? The
Yes.
TV show?
Yes.
He looks like he was like 8 years old when he did that show in
I know.
comparison to
I know.
today,
He
right?
hasn't really aged that much.
Not too, a lot of facial hair and scraggly hair. But all right, who's your favorite actress?
My favorite actress, honestly, I don't have one.
Okay, just
I like, if I watch a movie, I like women that are strong. And,
okay.
Yeah, but
All
I don't
right.
have a favorite actress, no.
What's your favorite all-time movie that you have to drop everything when you know it's on TV?
Dirty Dancing.
The original.
The original.
Not the remake. Because there was a remake about a year
No,
or
no,
two.
no. The original
The
with
original.
Patrick Swayze when it first came out in the 80s.
Very
Yes.
good. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Nobody.
Nobody.
No.
I lived those summers up in the Catskills. My grandparents had a house up there, and I went through all that up there in the bungalows and stuff.
Yeah.
I was really, really able to relate. All-time favorite car that you wish you had in your garage?
Ferrari.
Nice. She's ready for these questions. So cool. If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what occupation would you like to try?
I have no idea.
Okay. Nothing tickles your fancies. Yeah, I really would like to give that a try.
You're doing it all.
Well, that's
Yeah,
okay. Nate. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
What's your favorite genre of music?
I like all music except for country.
Okay.
My favorite, though, I love classical music.
Like
The
Bach?
bass line of, yes, the
Okay.
bass line of the music, because I like instrumental.
Okay.
So if they took the voice out of any type
You'd
of
be
music,
happy.
I'd be totally happy because I like to listen to the different
Okay.
instruments.
That's interesting. Okay, very cool. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What's your least favorite curse word?
Poop.
Really? Okay. That's okay.
I don't know.
I'm surprised.
Poop.
Poop. My least favorite cuss word would be, oh. Like, you mean like, okay, it would be the cunt.
Oh! I wish I had a
That's
prize 'cause
like-
you're the first one who
that-
actually said it.
That's
you know?
the last thing a woman wants to be called is a cunt.
Okay.
So that's the worst.
I've had
yes.
everybody else who's answered that question give me the
The
see
C
you
word.
next
No.
next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So
yeah,
if-
we're real on our show.
that's
so there you
good.
go.
That's good. I'm happy about that.
The final
All right.
frontier of free
Free
speech.
speech, thank God. Otherwise, hello, FCC. Okay, last question for you, Heidi. When you're standing at the pearly gates and whoever you believe in is meeting you at the gates to let you into heaven, what is it you want them to say to you upon entering?
I was a good person.
Okay.
You did a good job.
There you go. Very good. Good job. You survived my tough questions. Now Joe has had an opportunity to prep for the questions.
Oh, I was going to think you would come up with new
Oh, no.
ones.
Wait. I
I'm
do
Mike for you.
I have one question
Go
for
ahead.
Joe before you get started.
Go ahead.
Here we
Okay. If you get up on the left side of a horse,
Right?
where do you get down?
What do you mean?
The horse's ass. I don't know.
I,
Where do you get?
I don't know. The right side? What?
From a duck.
What?
From a duck?
The left side of a...
If you get up on the left side of a horse, where do you get down?
That's not what you said. You said, where do you get off?
No, I didn't. I said, where do you get down?
Well,
I was very careful with that.
wow.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
I'm
about
glad
that.
we stopped the show for that one.
Wait.
You have to duck, like you duck.
No.
No, duck like goose down feathers you'd get in a jacket.
Down from a duck for down
okay.
pillows.
Oh, all right.
We got it.
I guess I'm not.
I just
that
wanted
smart.
to throw him off there.
You threw everybody off, John.
Everybody off.
All right, Joe, here you go. Favorite actor?
Okay, this is going to surprise you. I actually don't really have one. You know what I like the most?
Okay.
When you can just put yourself in the movie.
Okay.
And I'm not going, oh look, Tom Cruise is there doing
Okay.
this. So. But if I have to give you a real answer, let's say Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite actress?
Again, I don't really have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't
you
really
do.
Uh-oh.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina
Tell
Okay.
the truth, Joe.
She looks good. I don't necessarily know about her actress skills, but yeah.
Favorite
Well,
all-time movie that you'll drop everything to see?
Oh, let's see. 300 I liked
Okay.
a lot. Yeah,
All
that
right.
was a great
Russell
movie.
Crowe was in that, wasn't he? Didn't he lead in that one?
No.
No, it was that
Which is the other-
Gerard Butler.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gerard Butler. Okay.
Yeah.
I can
Great.
see. Yeah, I can see you digging that.
Yeah, Braveheart. I like that too.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what occupation would you have liked to have tried?
Oh, let's see. I'd love to be a lead guitar player in a rock band, of course.
There you go. That's all right. You get all the money that way.
Listen, I know a drummer on a show out on the strip. Maybe he can get
Yeah,
you in there.
that's true. If I had some talent.
Favorite car you wish you had in your garage?
Oh, let's see. A Corvette. That's
Okay.
good enough. Yeah.
All right. Favorite genre of music?
Yeah, I like a lot of music, but I still got to go with classic rock for sure.
Okay. Classic
Yeah.
rock. All right. Very good. Favorite curse word?
This is going to surprise you too. I was raised in a household with my mother. My father wasn't around much.
Right.
And my mother always said it's extremely disrespectful to curse around women.
Right.
And she's a woman, so I had never cursed.
Okay.
And Heidi will attest to this. I never, ever use profanity. True?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. I know
Okay.
that sounds really weird, but
No?
it's like I just don't. I don't know. It's very strange.
So
I wouldn't be able to talk.
what's your least favorite curse word then that you hear?
Well, then I can't say it.
I know what it is. It's motherfucker. He doesn't like that word.
That just kind of curdles your blood. All right, that's I almost had him. All right, last question before we wrap up because we're just about done. You can play the background whenever we get close. When you're standing at the pearly gates, whoever's there to meet you, what is it that you hope to hear on your way into heaven?
You tried as hard as you could.
Excellent. Love it. Guys, thank you so much for being on with us this week. It's been fun.
Thank you for having us.
Now,
It was fun.
now
It
it's
was
over.
great.
You can breathe now. Everything is
Yeah.
good. The show is From Grief to Relief every Thursday at 1 p.m. right here on Vegas Whole Net Radio. Stay tuned for another what's the name of our show? Stars of VANR next week. I have no idea who's on next, so you'll just have to catch it on Facebook. Thank you for listening. Aaron Phillips for the rest of the cast. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.